Wednesday evening. I have a couple things I'm going to share with you about today. I was a bad girl. I didn't walk. I didn't bike. The walk wasn't completely my fault. My buddy couldn't get away from work, and it was just one of those weird, crazy days. It's Mother's Day, so work is a little more stressful than normal. More so just because things aren't going as smooth as we'd like them to, but that's a holiday, I guess, in the floral industry. So anyway, I just got home from meeting some of the people from group, from 6 feet apart, of course, with our masks on, which was kind of interesting. But we had like a little ice cream social distancing event. I don't know what you call it really, but it was good just to see, some people in person, some people that we knew that, you get used to seeing so many people every week or pretty often, multiple times a week. When you don't see them, obviously it's a struggle. We're all in this together. So we agreed to meet in a parking lot, and we all got our ice cream one by one and kind of visited. And it was definitely a little bit of a challenge. Like I said, we had our masks on and stuff, but it was my recovery community, and it was good to see them. And then group actually started when we were leaving. So I'll tell you about that in a minute. First, I wanted to share with you too. I had the honor of speaking today at a I guess they called it a recovery meeting, a Zoom meeting. And you guys have met Bernie. He told his story a little while back. So this was part of his community and invited me to speak. And it's really weird when you're in a GA environment and you tell your story, which I've done, a lot of times. And it's traditionally the way I grew up in GA in Kansas City was, if there was a new member in the room, we always made it a step one meeting, and we always told pieces of our story. And when I interviewed Chuck not too long ago, I remember him saying, I've never told my whole story like in one sitting. It's different. So I got to experience what Chuck meant by that. And, I had done some bullet points just to make sure that I highlighted. And I think I did the same thing that I do to you guys. I start a thought and then I get on a tangent, and maybe I closed the thought and maybe I didn't. So I recorded it for my own sake. Like I recorded on my phone to hear how I presented, because you don't know how you're doing in the heat of the moment either. And I didn't listen to it yet or anything, but it was kind of I don't want to say a challenge, but it was different to go through the whole journey. I feel like any time that I've told my story, it's been in segments, and who knows, maybe I'll practice on you guys someday, or I don't know. We'll see what happens. But it was a good experience. I got to meet some new people. They were very kind and receptive, and yeah, it was good. It was something a little out of my comfort zone, and I'm happy I got some recovery stuff in that looked a little different. And I shared about that at group tonight. And it's, you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I'm not trying to say that my group community is, boring me or whatever. It's just that I felt a little more reinvigorated after Justin's 4th step thing last night, and after having some exposure to some different people. So it was pretty interesting kind of day, and I'm happy with my recovery part of it. The thing that was interesting tonight at group that I want to share was Bill said that he's our fearless leader, that he had been at some other groups, and he heard 2 different people say that they hate themselves. And obviously, we don't want anybody to hate themselves. And our first question, those of us who've been in the rooms before, were asking, were these new members? Because I can understand someone who's new to the journey feeling that way. I can understand most people feeling that way. If they're an addict, and I could understand how they could. I think the gift that we're given when we practice recovery, whether it's the 12 steps or not, is finding out how to love ourselves instead of hate ourselves or even like ourselves. And that was one of the big takeaways I got from Justin's version of a step 4 kind of meeting. I loved how he described the finish line being about liking yourself. So it really resonated today when Bill said, I don't want this to be the culture here. I don't know why these people said that. And it really was profound to him because it happened with 2 different people in 2 different groups. And I can remember thinking, if you don't understand how to love yourself, or if you don't have people pushing you, like I had the center, I don't remember ever saying hating myself. I think there's definitely a distinction between our personalities or our wholeness and our behaviors. And it's just become so clear to me that my behaviors, I could hate some of my behaviors. And I've told you before, I don't really, hate is just so strong. It's like, it really shouldn't even be in my vocabulary anymore, because I can't really say that I hate anything. Maybe snakes and spiders, maybe, but still. So I can understand if people don't understand that the addiction makes us do things, right? If like we talked about yesterday or this morning, and they're all blurring, I'm sorry, but about it being a disease, if you can understand that clearly, then you know that it's not you as a person that you should be hating. So I would be, if I was Bill, I probably would have brought that to the table too, because I don't want anybody hating themselves. And the other epiphany, reflective moment that I had today was one of the fellas. So as you guys, I think I told you that we lost one of our recovery coaches to COVID. And now actually we found out another one of our members in our group has it. So when we went to group on Monday, we were told, they were talking to someone about recovery coach. And I'm about to share with you what an asshole I can be. And I'm not telling you from I'm proud to be an asshole. I'm just an asshole sometimes. And, he mentioned he was having dialogue with someone, and they were looking at bringing on a new recovery coach. Well, when we got to ice cream, the first person there and I were talking, and he's the one that is going to be our new recovery coach. And I didn't congratulate him. We started talking like he had been struggling to get on Zoom, and I honestly can't tell you where my brain went, but this is one of my defects, and I bring it up because we were doing step 5 work, and, even still talking about step 4 work and looking at our opportunity areas to improve. That's the politically correct way they say it at the office. You have opportunity. I definitely am not, and I don't want to say I don't have empathy, and I don't know why this keeps showing up this week. It's not that I don't have empathy or I'm not capable of empathy, but it's not my go-to. I'm very black and white, and this is a skill I need to work on. If I want to continue to be on a path to go forward, I need to think differently. And it didn't occur to me so much until another guy gets there. We're talking about it, and the first words out of his mouth are congratulations and blah, 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 blah. And I didn't go that way. And Jeff actually looked at me and said, yeah, you didn't even congratulate me. And I'm like, Jeff, I'm not a nice person. Like, there's times that I'm just not a nice person. I don't think that way. I said, and I apologized to him. And it wasn't that I wasn't happy for him or whatever. I just don't go to those kind gestures, or I don't know. It's really weird. I don't know how to explain it, and I'm going to keep exploring it, so you're going to hear more about it. And I think that that's why I love the love and kindness message. You know, that was one of the things that we talked about today in meditation, or the lady who led meditation talked about, you know, she always kind of builds it in and spreading love and kindness. And it doesn't make sense because as a person, I care about other people. I care what happens to people. I am one of the folks, like, it's making me crazy that when I'm out in public and I'm wearing a mask, which we have to do, I can't smile the way I want to. I haven't come up with a charming way to let people know I'm smiling without saying, I'm sorry, I really am smiling at you. It's just weird. So I don't think that I'm like a bad person in that way, but I got to figure out how to change my thinking, or maybe just accept myself the way I am and apologize a lot, you know, for when I'm not that empathetic. I think that's the word, empathetic. It's just not my dynamic. I've never been gushy. Like, it makes my poor mom crazy. It's Mother's Day coming up, and, you know, I'm just not a gushy kind of person. It's just always been that way. It's probably well, as you'll learn about on Friday, it's probably one of my MOs, as my good friend Neil will share with us. So that was my interesting reflection for the day. I really hope that, again, I've said this in the past too, I picture you guys driving down a road, listening to this because there's no meeting or whatever, or just getting a different spin on recovery, or, you know, just a different outlet. And we got some cool things coming up, but I picture you going down the road thinking that. And if you are going down the road, be reflective, or as you have communications in your relationships and different things, you know, are you capable of looking in the mirror and doing the hard work, the hard look? Like, I'm not proud that I'm not a people person in that concept, but I have to acknowledge it. If that's the first thing, right? Is be aware of it and acknowledge it. Because if I don't do those two things, I don't have a shot at fixing it. So, or adapting it or improving upon it. So that's why I share these things. It's not bragging that I'm an asshole. It's just a matter of fact that I can act like one at sometimes. And even that, I shouldn't be saying it that way, that I am. I act that way sometimes, or I'm not the best person I want to be when I'm not exhibiting those kinds of qualities that I think just make some other people so wonderful. So that's my work for now. I think I just did it with my biking buddy too. I don't know. I'm just not I'm just not a very nice, gushy person. Okay. That's my defect for the day and my thoughts. I hope everyone had a great day. Tomorrow, I will chat with you first thing in the morning. It's going to be cold again, like frost advisory, so no biking, I don't think. So hopefully I'll be with you a little earlier. All right, my beautiful people. You have a great evening. Bye.